Synopsis of 16 cycles. Being 48,000 years. Covering a period from the creation of man down to the submersion of the continent of Pan, called by the ancients, the flood, or deluge, which was 24,000 years BK, selected from the records in the libraries of heaven. Chapter I. 1. First, the earth plieth in a circuit around the sun, which circuit is divided into 4 arcs called spring, summer, autumn and winter. 2. Second, the sun, with his family, plieth in a large circuit, which is divided into 1,500 arcs, the distance of which for each arc is about 3,000 years, or 1 cycle. 3. During a cycle, the earth and her heavens fall in the Etherean regions of hundreds of Etherean worlds, where dwell Jehovah's high-raised angels, whose chiefs have to do with the management of worlds. 4. During the time of a cycle, the earth is therefore under the control and management of such of Jehovah's angels for the resurrection of man of the earth. 5. At the time of the creation of man, the earth was traveling in the ark of Wan, where dwelled thousands of Orient chiefs, with thousands of millions of high-raised angels. 6. The holy council of Orient chiefs, through the wisdom and voice of Jehovah, appointed one of their number, Sathots, to take charge of the earth, and to people it with immortal beings, during its travel in Wan. 7. The rank and title of Sathots, thus raised up by Jehovah, creator of worlds, was, first God of the earth and her heavens. 8. And Sathots came with millions of angels, who had been raised up from other worlds previously, and he accomplished his work, and was known as God. 9. Sathots was, then, the first God of the earth and her heavens, and his place was within the ark of Wan. And during his cycle of 3,000 years, he raised up from the earth 1,500 million brides and bridegrooms to Jehovah. 10. After Sathots came Ehishong, sub-chief in the realms of Hyuwi and the Hayan ark of Jehovih. And during the cycle of Anikaran, also 3,000 years, Ehishong raised up from the earth a harvest of 2,200,000,000 brides and bridegrooms. 11. The third cycle was under the dominion of Hula, surveyor of Kakainsta in the ark of Gimel, and his harvest was 3,700,000,000. 12. The fourth cycle was under Cpeabin, chieftainess of Solgawaran in the ark of Yan, and her harvest was 4,800,000,000. 13. The fifth cycle was under Pathodis's, road-maker in Kaidavia in the ark of Yahamadak, and his harvest was 6,400,000,000. 14. The sixth cycle was under Gomagak, god of Izag, in the ark of Samgothga, and his harvest was 7,900,000,000. 15. The seventh cycle was under Gopens, god of Cam, in the ark of Sarivat, and his harvest was 9,300,000,000. 16. The eighth cycle was under Hysis, goddess of Ruts, in the ark of Holmagalik, and her harvest was 9,400,000,000. 17. The ninth cycle was under Saetsius, inspector of roads in Kamatra, in the ark of Jusian, and his harvest was 10,100,000,000. 18. The 10th cycle was under Miselativi, chieftainess of the archers of Lotsgaubak, in the ark of Nu, and her harvest was 10,800,000,000. 19. And now the earth was full of people. All the continents and islands of the earth were inhabited by man. Nor was there left any wilderness wherein man did not dwell. 20. But the generation of man had fallen from 33 years down to 12 years. And man and woman were at maturity at 7 years old. And not many lived above 30 years. But they were prolific. Many of the mothers bringing forth 20 sons and daughters, and from 2 to 4 at a birth. 21. And man dwelt in peace, and the earth was tilled, and brought forth abundantly of everything that was good for man to eat, and to clothe himself. And there were in those days great cities of hundreds of thousands of inhabitants. Thousands and thousands of such cities, and in all the 5 great divisions of the earth. And man built ships and sailed over the ocean in all directions, around about the whole world. By the angels of the Lord was he taught and guided in all things. And man had books, both written and printed. And the young were taught in schools, a knowledge of the sun and moon and stars, and of all things that are upon the earth and in the waters thereof. This was therefore called the first period of civilization on the earth. 22. Now, for the most part, all the people had become aliens, small, white and yellow. Nevertheless there were ground people, with long arms, who were large. But they dwelt by themselves, and their food was of all manner of flesh, and fish, and creeping things. The ground people were brown and black, and they lived to be 200, and even 400 years old. 23. Jehovah said, in the early days I raised up humans, and I gave them certain commandments, amongst which was, not to cohabit with the drunks lest they go down in darkness. But they obeyed not my words. And lo and behold, they are lost from the face of the earth. 24. Because the Indians have become a spiritual people and have prospered in peace and spirit, behold, they have degenerated in the corporeal body. They yield abundant harvest for my Etherian realms, but they are like untimely births. 25. Now will I bring the earth into Augean fields and forests for a long season. For I shall again reproduce the Ilhuans. And the time of a generation shall be 33 years. For my harvest shall be a fruit that is mature and full of ripeness. 26. And Jehovah brought the earth into new regions in the Etherian worlds, and covered it over with Auge, east and west and north and south. 27. And it came to pass that many of the Indians lost the generative desire and, so, brought not forth many heirs. But the brown people burned with desires, and they laid hold of the Indian women when they went into the fields, and forced them, and thus brought forth again the Ihuan race, the copper-colored, strong and bright and quick. 28. Accordingly the 11th cycle, which was under Gobeth, god of Tirangathaga, in the Ark of Sul, brought forth a harvest of 6,700,000,000. 29. The 12th cycle was under Phaes, goddess of Luga, in the Ark of Shin, and her harvest was 2,600,000,000. 30. The 13th cycle was under Zindianhas, keeper of the Cress, in the Ark of Oliganaya, and his harvest was 1,200,000,000. 31. The 14th cycle was under Tothsantaga, road-maker in Hapanogos, in the Ark of Manaju, and his harvest was only 600,000,000. 32. The 15th cycle was under Nimias, god of Thesgothamachus, in the Ark of Siga, and his harvest was only 40,000,000. 33. The 16th cycle was under Neph, god of Sogans, in the Ark of Arbruk, but he failed to bring forth any harvest. Chapter E. One God, that is Neph, said, Hear my prayer, O Jehovah. The earth and her heavens are gone down in darkness. 2. The Ian hath been destroyed off all the divisions of the earth save Waga. 3. More than 30,000 million angels are gathered on the surface of the earth, and they are too low in grade to be delivered. 4. What shall thy God do, O Father? 5. Mortals are descending in breed and blood. Only as diseased vermin do they inhabit the earth. 6. Their cities are destroyed, and they dwell after the manner of four-footed beasts. 7. The inspiration of thy God and his angels can no longer reach them. 8. When they die and enter these heavens they are as festering sores on one another, thousands of millions of them. 9. For 3,000 years have I labored with them, but the abundance of their darkness outmatcheth thy God. 10. What shall I do with them, O Father? How shall thy God deliver so great a carcass of death? 11. But Jehovah answered not the prayer of God. Left him to consult with other gods in the higher heavens. 12. But in Etheria, Jehovah spake to his Orient chiefs, saying, As I try mortals, so do I try angels. As I try them, so do I try my gods. Forever and forever do I keep before them the testimony of an all-higher. 13. Now it had come to pass on earth that the time of a generation of mortals had risen from 12 years to 80 years. And there were many who lived to be 300 years old. And they had become very large, twice the size of men of this day. But they were without judgment and of little sense. Hardly knew they their own species. And they mingled together, relatives as well as others. so that idiocy and disease were the general fate of the tribes of men. And they were large and strong and prolific. 14. This then that followeth is the grade of declension in the heavens of the earth. That is, after Kishalon had changed the period of generation from 12 years into the upper grades, to wit 15. Abner, 7th dawn of Dan, enduring 3,200 years in Hasteth, Etherian Agi 7, Hotan, grade 99. 16. Insini, goddess of Marsif, Etheria, Dan of Gem, enduring 3,000 years, grade 93. 17. Boaz, god of Hum, Orion Field, Dan of Josh, enduring 2,700 years, grade 88. 18. Devi, goddess of Awitsky and Agi 36, Dan of Ruth, enduring 2,900 years, grade 82. 19. Leamis, goddess of War and Broke, Dan 40, Orion Field, Semsi, enduring 3,000 years, grade 77. 20. Devias, god of Hut in Havoc, Gia 22, Neth, enduring 3,100 years, grade 69. 21. Roiasias, goddess of Tamak, Bent, one of Hud Duouts, enduring 3,070 years, grade 61. 22. Ye, chief of Orion Field, Lud in Gu, Dan 74, enduring 2,600 years, grade 58. 23. Gulianov, Chiraftanus, Orion Field, Ablo in Gia 40, enduring 3,400 years, grade 51. 24. From this time onward there was found no grade in the roadway of the solar phalanx great serpent, sufficiently dense for the angels of the heavens of the earth. Chapter 3. 1. Jehovah moved upon the Etherian worlds, in the wide regions where travelleth the great serpent. His voice went forth, and amongst the counselors, the high-ruling chieftains of the exalted kingdoms in the firmament, he spoke, saying to, Hear me, O ye chieftains! Be ye far-seeing in my travelling worlds, and alert to my words. Behold the red star, the earth, hath attained her maturity. As a daughter cometh forth in the prime of life, so standeth the young earth in her glory. For 50,000 years hath she played her part as an ornament of heaven and a harvester of bright souls for my exalted regions in the firmament. 3. Gather together, O ye Orion chiefs, and ye Etherian goddesses, and ye that dwell in the roadway of the great serpent. Call ye a council of my everlasting rulers of worlds, and of them that plant my Augean gardens and my Giaean fields, and of them that whirl my nebulous vortices in the firmament. 4. The voice of Jehovah extended across the wide universe, and those who were high-raised in the management of worlds heard and comprehended. 5. And there assembled in the Etherian gardens of Sinaiah, near the roadway of the solar phalanx, millions of Jehovah's highest. And the place was as a park larger than 100 times the earth. And round about on every side lay the crystalline borders of Etherian worlds. And when they were assembled, Jehovah spake out of the light inherent, saying 16 times had my Etherian hosts redeemed the earth and her heavens from darkness into light, and yet ere the end of a cycle she falleth again, and her atmosphere with her. And now it hath come to pass that her heavens are filled with thousands of millions of spirits that know not me and my emancipated worlds. Speak, O ye gods and goddesses. 7. Thereupon Sutlu said, O Jehovah, I have heard. I have beholden. Too prolific is the earth, the young daughter of heaven. Too prolific is the red star of the firmament. 8. Next spake Kawa, saying, Thou hast spoken, O Jehovah. Too prolific is the rich earth, O Father. Her mortals are overpowered by her atmospherian hosts. Her people build up cities and nations for a season after dawn, but soon they are overflooded by Fetals and Druges, and the mortals devour one another as beasts of prey. 9. Kajong said, Her people have tilled all the soil of the earth and covered it over with cities. But where are they? Her people have been learned in the matters of heaven and earth, but their knowledge is dissipated by the dread hand of war. 10. Duita said, Her people become wise in a day, but on the next they are fools. one generation becometh skilled in books and in knowledge of the sun and moon and stars, and in the mathematics of corporeal things. But a generation followeth, and lo, her people are cannibals again. 11. Gizon said, I have heard, O Jehovah. I have witnessed, O Father. The red star is too prolific. She is like a garden too rich. Her products are overgrown, and they fall down and doubly enrich the soil again, to reproduce an imperfect giant stalk that is barren. So are her sons and daughters. They run all to earthly substances. 12. Luan said, Great Spirit, I have heard, I have seen. We gather the earth's harvests for thee, O Jehovah, but they are small. We gather the earth's harvests of dark spirits, O Jehovah, and they are 10 times larger. Behold, there is no balance between them. 13. Thus spake the gods and goddesses, till thousands of them had spoken. After that the voice of Jehovah spake, saying 14. Ye are blessed, my sons and daughters. How can ye bequeath the administration of the earth and her heaven to the earth-born, till she is made suitable as a gift from my hand? Now hear me, O my sons and daughters. 5 great divisions of the earth have I made, and they have all been inhabited over and tilled by mortals. Yea, on all the divisions of the earth have there been great cities and nations, and men and women of great learning. 15. And as oft as they are raised up in light, so are they again cast down in darkness, because of the great desire of the spirits of the dead to return back to the earth. These drug return to mortals and fasten upon them as fetals or as familiars, and inspire them to evil. Go now to the earth, O my beloved, and find the division of the earth where most of these drug congregate, for I will uproot their stronghold. I will break them from their haunts, and they shall no longer carry my people down to destruction. 16. And now the council deliberated, and after a while caused the records of the earth and her atmosphere to be examined, and they discovered that the heaven of the land of Wagapan was beyond redemption because of the great numbers of the spirits of the cannibals and of the multitude of fetals. It was as if a disease in the flesh be healed over externally, leaving the root of the disease within. So was Waga and her heaven. The redemption of the cycles remained not with her, but evil broke out forever in a new way. 17. So Jehovah said, Now will I prune the earth and her heaven. Behold, the division of Waga shall be hewn off and cast beneath the waters of the ocean. Her heaven shall be no longer tenable by the spirits of destruction, for I will rend the foundation thereof and scatter them in the winds of heaven. 18. Go ye, therefore, down to the earth and provide nets and vanches for receiving the spirits of darkness, and for receiving the spirits of mortals who shall perish in the waters. And provide ye a place in my exalted heavens suitable for them. And ye shall wall them about in heaven that they cannot escape, but that they may be weaned from evil. 19. And when ye are come to the earth and its heavens, acquaint my God and his lords with my decree. And say to them, Thus saith Jehovah, Behold, behold, I will sink the land of Waga beneath the waters of the ocean, and her heaven will I carry away to a place in my firmament, where she shall no longer engulf my people in darkness. And Jehovah saith, Go thou, O God of heaven, and thou, O Lord of Waga, down to my chosen, the Ians, and say to them, Thus saith the Great Spirit, Behold, behold, I will sink the lands of the earth beneath the ocean, because of the evil of the spirits of darkness. Hear me, O my chosen, and heed my commandments. Fall to all hands, and build ships in all places, even in the valleys and on the mountains, and let my faithful gather together within the ships, for my hand is surely stretched over the earth. 20. And ye shall also proclaim unto the earth and her heaven that from the first, even in the ancient days, I proclaimed my 3 worlds unto all people, which are my corporeal worlds and the lower heavens that belong thereto, and my ethereal heavens which are in the firmament above. And I said, The first glory is of the earth, whereon is paradise when man obeyeth my commandments. And the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead, but I bound the lower heaven to the earth that it might travel therewith, that the communion of the dead with the living might add a glory unto both. But the upper heaven I made the highest of all glories, and I filled the ethereal firmament with countless worlds of their kind for the dwelling places of those that rose in the third resurrection. 21. And I sent from the exalted heavens down to the lower heavens, and to the earth, also, my holy angels, over whom I appointed gods and lords in the majesty of my dominions. And they came proclaiming these things in my name, teaching both mortals and spirits how to live that they might rise and inherit my illuminated worlds. 22. And because man was without knowledge, my gods and lords appointed certain masters of generations Louise, who were Etherenes of great wisdom, to abide with mortals and inspire such marriages as would best promote spiritual growth from the start. And there came forth amongst all people certain ones capable of Sirates and Suez, and they did the commandments of my gods and lords, forsaking evil and striving to serve the Spirit, choosing me above all things. Wherefore I chose them also, and called them Ions. 23. Forasmuch as they commenced putting away self and serving me whilst they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. And even so are others not of full birth who have not in the corporeal form begun to triumph in spirit over their own flesh. 24. Jehovah said, Go forth, O my sons and daughters, and prune my vineyard. 25. Beseech my God of the earth and his lords with him, to gather together all the angels of the earth, from east to west and from north to south. To the land of Waga bring them. 26. My Etherian ships of fire shall surround Waga on every side. And I will cut loose the foundations of the earth, at the borders of the ocean and the mountains of Gan, nor shall any prop or cornerstone stay my hand. And I will send rains and winds and thundering. And the waters of the great deep shall come upon the lands. And the great cities shall go down and be swallowed in the sea. 27. And the rich valleys of Mai, with her 1,000 cities, shall be rent with the madness of men and women fleeing before the waters of the ocean. And women and children shall fall by the way and be drowned. And men shall go down in the water and rise not. 28. And the wide plains of Og, with her 1,000 cities, and with the great capital of Penj, and the temples of Ku, and Bart, and Gan, and Sawing, shall sink to rise no more. And in the deluge, the air of heaven shall be filled with the screaming and wailing of millions of mortals going down to destruction. 29. I will rescue them from darkness. I will carry them to Augean regions which I previously created for spirits of darkness. And I will appoint over them gods and goddesses to teach them of me and my kingdoms. 30. And the earth and her heavens shall take a new start amongst my habitable worlds. 31. Thus have I provided labor for my high-raised angels in the places I created, saith Jehovah. End of the Synopsis of Heavenly Records. Plate 5. E. Etheria. B. Periphery of the Earth's vortex. This line was called by the ancients the Bridge of Chunvat. All within this area is called Atmospheria. The center is the Earth, 1, 1, 1. O, the ocean. 1s, 2s and 3 represent different atmospherian plateau. The O, with a line through it, represents atmospherian oceans.